It's news time. Information is power. The current. The news headline. Pardon. Soldiers. Secessionists get more reason to abandon violent agitation. As part of the federal government's effort to restore peace, unity, and security, especially in the southeastern region of the country, more Biafran soldiers were pardoned and enlisted to start receiving gratuities from the Ministry of Defense. This is actually a solid reason to stop all violent agitations and embrace the diversity, unity, and heritage of the country. It is a wonderful gesture by the government which further signifies its commitment towards restoring normalcy across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. It is left to these young men who perpetuate violence and destruction to carefully decide their fate. Nigeria's unity is actually non-negotiable, and this is evident from what President Muhammadu Buhari regime has actually been preaching. Those who aspire to more violence through agitations should take a moment and consult the Biafran soldiers on the consequences and dangers of civil unrest. The civil war has significantly impacted the economic growth and stability of the southern region of the country. Those who witnessed the war pray that it should never occur again. The likes of Joe Igokwe, a special advisor to Lagos State government on water and drainage, actually took to his media platforms to lecture his people about the effects, dangers, and consequences of civil war. This has earned him more attention and recognition on social media platforms. The federal government, in its quest to ensure peace, has informed all pardoned Biafra soldiers that it will continue to pay them gratuities, and this is a commendable gesture and necessary steps towards achieving peace despite their crimes against Nigerians. The government decided to reward them so as to give no reason for other violent agitators to continue perpetrating crimes in the name of protest. Every sane person knows that violence only begets more violence. When you have any disagreement with the government's decision, policies, or the general structure of the country political system, it is appropriate to channel your grievances through your representative. The legislative body will therefore be deliberate and make a decision on that particular issue. And this is a public writer, Rashid, talking about the manners of which the government had actually addressed the Biafran soldiers, giving them gratuities, to further, compensate them for the civil unrest, the Biafra war that happened between 1967 to 1970, thereby saying that there is a need for them to retrace themselves, and also those clamoring for a breakup of Nigeria use this to, guide themselves to stop anything that might actually bring about disunity in the country. And therefore, a public writer as well has just talked about how the Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria has been, in one way or the other, supporting the agitations of the indigenous people of Biafra. That it was disturbing to note that while Nigeria is the third most terrorized country in the world, next to Afghanistan and Iraq, the Buhari-led government actions are centered on cows in such a way that cows are more secure in Nigeria than Nigerians, just as the herders are armed to the teeth to the knowledge of government authorities. Also, the Human Rights Writers Association revealed that Nigeria's public debt stock, which has reached $84 billion, with debt service costs gulping about 80% of entire government revenue. Nigeria's external debt increased by 107.4% from $12.6 billion in 2015 to $27.4 billion by the end of 2019. Furthermore, the rights group expressed worries that between March and June 2020, a total of $10.26 billion new debt was approved by the National Assembly, while other approvals for more loans were also given this 2021. Of the 4 administrations who have led Nigeria since our return to democracy in 1999, the current administration holds the worst records in terms of economic growth. Olusegun Obasanjo regime from 1999 to 2007 has had an average growth of 6.9%. His immediate successor, Umaru Yar'Adua, did even better in his 2 years with an average growth rate of 7.6%, while Goodluck Jonathan delivered 5% growth rate in a 6-year term as president that ended in 2015, the group added. Relatedly, Human Rights Writers Association also used the occasion of the 61st independence celebration of Nigeria to call for cessation of conflicts and attacks in the southeast of Nigeria so dialogue can be embraced. The Human Rights Writers Association further called on indigenous people of Biafra to strictly enforce the suspension of the Monday sit-at-home order, as well as the United Nations for intervention and the release of Kanu. And these were the words of the Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, that the Independence Day celebration was just a charade and that the Buhari-led administration needs to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, where they say that the country is actually failed already, and the ineptitude, incompetence, and insensitive iron-handedness, and also the nepotism by the Buhari-led administration of the country has led us all into disaster and woes. The group also said that that good governance has actually been abandoned, and that Nigerians are now suffering from conflict and terrorism in the country, saying that President Muhammadu Buhari is actually falling into this kind of mess because of the kind of people he surrounded himself with, such as Garba Shehu, who is the presidential aide, and also that all the other people who are just not telling President Muhammadu Buhari the truth just because of their selfish and pedestrian interests. The Human Rights Writers Association also challenged President Muhammadu Buhari to initiate concrete, genuine, and deep national reconciliation and dialogue, and not to go after people that are clamoring for their right to self-determination. In a statement signed by National Coordinator Comrade Emmanuel Onwubiko, Human Rights Writers Association carpeted the nation's political class for their alleged collective and classical lack of leadership acumen. The experience of Nigerians since 2015 has actually been impressive. And before then, Nigeria was the third fastest growing economy in the world, next to China and India, with a growth rate of close to 7%, but the economy contracted immediately after swearing in of President Muhammadu Buhari took more than 6 months to constitute his cabinet. Therefore, the Human Rights Writers of Nigeria had actually said that the state of Nigeria now is disturbing because it is now the third most terrorized country in the world, next to Afghanistan and Iraq, and that the only thing that the Buhari-led administration is doing is centered on cows, and that Nigerians, just as others, are armed to the teeth to the knowledge of the government authorities, and that the past government had actually recorded a good growth in the economy than the present President Muhammadu Buhari's regime, saying that there is need for the indigenous people of IPOB to continue with the agitations to secure the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Thanks for listening.